I had been diagnosed with severe osteoarthritis and bone spurs. I was almost 300 pounds. I was like, what am I going to do? You have got to figure this out. I've lost about 158 pounds right now. My asthma's gone. I'm able to walk without a cane or an ankle brace. When I started this, I was 57. I'm 59 now. My life has totally changed. Totally changed.
Before we get started getting into the results and benefits of your fast, when and how did you discover fasting?
It was just about 2 years ago now. A year before, I had been diagnosed with severe osteoarthritis and bone spurs in my right foot and ankle. That was
Wow.
very, very painful, just terribly painful. And I was on my feet a lot. I was a dog groomer for over 30 years, and I was always very active. But I had gotten this diagnosis. My foot and ankle were swollen and hurting so bad, and I had gained quite a bit of weight. I was almost 300 pounds. And I was always heavy. I always yo-yoed up and down my whole life, but I was always still very active, and I always thought I was healthy. But once this foot thing started, it really slowed me down because every step I took was excruciating pain, just terrible. And so I started sitting more, started sitting to work, and I started not moving as much because it hurt. And the doctors just said cortisone injections until I would need surgery to kind of fuse my whole ankle. And those were very expensive. So I thought, and my blood pressure was up. I had high blood pressure and asthma, and my older brother had a stroke. And because of his high blood pressure and wasn't able to live by himself, so he moved in with us for me to take care of. I didn't know the extent of all of his problems. And so it was just a constant worry with him. He has stage 3 kidney disease, and we have our little place and our critters, and I couldn't walk. There I was, almost 300 pounds, and I couldn't walk, and I'm the one that was supposed to hold all this together. And so I was very very under a lot of pressure and stress, and I didn't know what to do, because in the past when I lost weight, I swam. I always loved swimming. And when I lost weight before, I had swam like 6 days a week over a mile to keep my weight down. And when my job changed locations and I couldn't get to the pool, it came back in no time. It was like I was just totally relying on the pool. And then COVID came and nothing was open and we were locked down. And I was like, what am I going to do? You have got to figure this out, Jesse. I would tell myself, you've got to figure this out. And I'd be crying and I was a mess and I didn't know what to do. And I started watching more YouTube videos about different things. And all of a sudden, this suggestion came up of one of Dr. Jason Fund's interviews about his new book, The Obesity Code. And I decided to watch that interview, and it was like, wow, that makes sense. It just really clicked with me about, here's something that I can do right here now. And so I watched another interview, and then I found he's got detailed lectures on, why we get fat and what goes on in our bodies. And I just watched them all. I just went at this like, yes, this makes so much sense. And I got his books and I read his books, and I went at it like a student. I highlighted stuff, I made notes, I made quotes, I made references to what page, these things were on, so I could go back, because it just seemed to all fit together and make sense to me. And so I started right then. It's like, this is it. This is something I can do, and I can start right now, and I'm going to give it a try. And 2 years later, here I am. I lost more than half of my weight. I've lost about 158 pounds right now, and my life has totally changed. Totally changed. I am
Wonderful.
Yeah, it's amazing. I'm off my blood pressure pills. My asthma's gone. I'm able to walk without a cane or an ankle brace. I'm back swimming. And, this, this is good. This is really good.
How were you eating before, you started fasting, like the types of food and you were mentioning how often, but go into that a little bit for me.
I was always a foodie, and I ate the good, the bad, and the ugly. We still had a garden. We have our own chickens, so we had fresh eggs. And, I love all that good food too. But, we still go out and go through the drive-throughs. And so I ate everything, and I ate often. And so the one thing what I did at first is I gave up all the refined stuff because let's face it, we all knew it was bad stuff, but we just liked the
Yeah.
taste of it. But then I also increased my natural fats, my saturated fats, which are very satisfying and they don't spike your insulin, which, it's all about the insulin. That's the big guy, is the insulin. So I wanted to keep my insulin low and the fats, the saturated fats don't raise that insulin, I learned. So I immediately, I threw out my vanilla coffee creamer that I just couldn't live without. But I replaced it with heavy cream and I sprinkled with a little bit of cinnamon and a little bit of ground cloves and blend that up. And, it took a little getting used to, but it tasted real good, but it was real satisfying. I mean, I was like, it would get me through part of the morning. So I ate as much as I wanted, but it was the filling stuff. And I found that it was very satisfying and very filling. And it was all the good stuff that wasn't the sugary stuff. So, you do go through kind of a, withdrawal, wanting that sugar stuff, but really I was so satisfied that I thought, I'm not hungry, for that. And it just got better and better as I went along. The first 2 or 3 weeks are the hardest. Everyone's got to use their, there's got to be willpower involved at the beginning, but then, once your body takes over and learns how to use your body fat for energy, the hunger pangs subsided. I mean, they just didn't happen anymore.
I'm glad you brought that up because I was going to definitely ask you because you said the first couple of weeks were a challenge for you. So definitely tell me about those first
Crabby.
Yeah.
I was crabby. I remember my husband had to eat something, and so I was crabby and cranky and, but you have to just kind of, tell yourself, just press on because that food. And then I was watching also and reading a lot of the terrible things that are in those processed foods that are just really, really bad for us. And, it's not something our body was used to or can handle or process correctly. And, so that all kind of helped, I didn't really even, I didn't really talk about it much at first because I was just going to see how it goes. But just something told me because I was feeling better to just stick with it, just keep going with it. So, yeah.
Yeah. So what is it like now compared to when you first started?
Oh, gosh, it's so easy now. It's just such a positive way of life for me. It's like, now I met my goal weight earlier this summer, and now it's just push button. I still fast because I learned all the other benefits to fasting, and I felt all the other benefits to fasting other than weight loss. There's a lot of people who fast when they're in good shape just because of the autophagy effect and how it cleans up things and just you're letting your body heal and do things. And so I still fast for that because I really kind of look forward to my longer fast days because it just gives you such a break and I feel really good. I just feel really good. And I've got tons of energy. And that's one thing that I've noticed is that, you don't fall apart. You actually feel really good and everything just kind of kicks in and says, let's go. And it just feels so good. So if I have some big projects or big things to do, I plan fast during that time because I'm just like, the Energizer bunny,
Yeah, I understand.
I painted my house last summer. I was just like, I'm gonna paint my house. It's just been everything I thought was, I was doing right, was just all wrong.
What benefits have you and results have you seen from fasting?
Well, the biggest thing is I'm able to walk, and the pain, my arthritis pain is hardly noticeable anymore. I still, it's still there, it's still stiff and a little awkward and stuff. But as far as getting up in the morning, being able to just go and do everything, I can be on my feet all day. And that's the biggest change. And that's what I'm so thankful for, because I was walking with a cane before. I had a leg support up to my knee, I had ankle support and orthotics, and I was still in excruciating pain. So that's a miracle, I think, on its own. And I'm off my blood pressure pills, my asthma's gone. I'm back, swimming all the time. And I mean, it's, and so much so that I'm now a lifeguard at our pool, which is totally fun and awesome. And so it's, I was able to, to pass through that, all the requirements for that. So, it's just been such a positive experience in my life. I want to share with others, because when I started this, I was 57, I'm 59 now. And, they always think I think women think, well, at our age, it's hard to lose weight, or it's, you're just going to carry some more weight, and stuff. But it's so wrong, once you get your body to where how it's supposed to work, it just runs with it. It just knows what to do. And it just goes crazy with it. It was just, and it happened fast. I think it happened really fast. I believe that if I would have learned this sooner in my life, my life could have been totally different. It could have been. I could have, really been in good health and really been able to, I wouldn't have had to have high blood pressure for a long time, and I wouldn't have had to been suffering from asthma. And I could have, I just feel so well now. I feel like I feel better than I did when I was in my 30s, or 40s. And it was right there all along. I just didn't know about it. And so so more people know and learn, I think they can really benefit from. It can only be good.
Exactly. It's just a matter of getting the information out there.
Right. And they've done, and I'm so thankful for the doctors who have shared this information on YouTube and stuff, because, you could watch an hour lecture or an hour interview and answer so many questions, and they can be so informative. And it's right there, on your phone, on your computer, in your house. And how many times have we sat down and watched and were able to learn so much from our face-to-face doctors? We can't. We got 15 minutes to get in there and get out of there. And because they've got a lineup behind you, and, don't take any more of your time, or, what I mean? You just can't. But, to delve in to learn is priceless.
That's great. So with everything that you've gone through over the past couple of years and your experiences, what feeding window are you working with, and how have you adapted to it?
So when I first started, after I gave up all the first 2-3 weeks that were the hard part, I was just feeling really good, and I was full in the morning. I had my coffee, and I wasn't really that hungry. So I didn't, I just pushed it. I had my 2 cups of coffee, and then by that time I ate lunch. And so I just kind of went to 2 times a day. And then I was still feeling good, and I was learning, watching more about the intermittent fasting. I thought, once a day sounds fair. I'll just eat a really good meal once a day and see how that goes. So I went to 1 meal a day, and I stayed on that. I went to 1 meal a day, and I thought, well, that was easy. And I felt good. I didn't bother me at all, and it freed up a bunch of time. Even though I was cooking for other people, but I didn't have to worry about what I was going to eat. And then I started noticing the weight starting to come off, and I thought, yes, here it goes. And so then I thought, well, and I remember the story, I think it was Dr. Fung that was talking about the man who fasted for over 300 days, 382
Yeah.
days, I think was the record. And he was perfectly fine because he was almost like 400 pounds and had, a bunch of health issues and stuff. And
Oh yeah, I saw that. It was like
yeah,
382
yeah,
days.
yeah. And it was like, and he was perfectly fine. And he got down and his diabetes went away and it, whatever. And I thought, well, I bet I can skip a day and live through it. If this poor chap is,
Yeah.
fasted for, over a year, I bet I can force myself to survive a day. And so I did. I just decided to skip a day. And it's like, I felt fine. I wasn't hungry. And I had a bunch of energy. And I remember I swam that, I started back swimming and I thought, well, I don't know if I'll be able to exercise if I'm not eating, but it was no problem. I was able to get in that pool. Actually, I swam faster and I, swam. I felt great. And so that's what I did. I started, I had one meal a day for 4 days, and then I would skip the fifth day entirely. So I do like a 48-hour fast.
Okay.
And, and that sounds like a lot, but I did that until I met my goal weight, and I remember Dr. Fung said, if you're feeling good and if everything's working good, there's no reason, to adjust, or something. But if you start feeling bad or weak or dizzy or stuff like that, it's like, no, I was feeling good. So I was going to go with it. And then the weight, it just started coming off. And I was like, yeah, wow, look at this. And I actually looked forward. I only weighed myself once a month. So I would always be like, wow,
That makes sense.
It was like, here it comes after that month. And I was like, wow, that's crazy, so
Before then, you were already able to see the results in the mirror looking and you
yeah,
just
yeah, you
it's
could.
almost like you're excited to look at the scale, right?
Who would have ever thought that? It was like, I had to buy a new scale because there was no scales in our house, and so it's like, but it was just kind of fun. And then, I found another thing I had to do was I found some cute secondhand stores that I shopped at, some resale shops, because I was like taking, last month's size in and donating it and picking up a few of my new sizes. And I did that every month, it's like, well, I'm not going to go out and buy a whole new wardrobe until I get to where I'm going to go. Well, I still don't. I still like shopping at the
Yeah,
but,
yeah.
and I'm a bargain hunter, and so, but it was just kind of fun, being able to see, I wonder what size I'll be this month. And it was just also, it just was so natural, and it was just so, I just felt so well, through it all. I'm like, boy, this is the way I'm supposed to feel. Because before, when I would eat all that stuff, I remember I couldn't move and I felt so heavy and I just felt blah, and I didn't feel good. But now when I have, my meals and stuff, it's like, okay, I ate and sit for about 10 minutes and then I can get up and go and do what I got to do, my chores or whatever. And it's like, I feel real good. I feel energized, but I don't feel weighted down and sticky and clogged up and all that stuff.
Yeah, and I'm with you on that.
Yeah,
Like having my own experience, it
yeah,
totally understand. And I also noticed that my body processes the food a lot easier, it's faster. Like you say, you're sitting for a couple of minutes and you can just get up and go. You don't really have to sit and wait around. So
yeah. And you don't have to fall asleep. You don't have to, and and I'm still a foodie. I still love food, and it's totally, you just see it as so much different now. It's just because I even appreciate food more now.
with all that you mentioned about your feeding window and being able to adapt to the way that you're eating in the lifestyle now. So how are you eating now? And are you
Yes,
getting the time
right,
frame?
right. So I'm still eating my one meal a day. I think that's plenty for me. And when I eat well. I eat all my good stuff. that I've been eating all along, and I look forward to my meals. I like preparing my meals because I like, planning and buying. And then I also treat myself, I figure, and since I started this 1 meal a day and stuff and skipping a day, I'm like, well, I'm not eating as much, so I'm going to eat. Well, I'm going to buy like organic this or better foods, because you want to still do the best you can as far as your quality of food. And so I do that. I have my, certain things that I go to the co-op and buy that's expensive, but it's, I don't eat very much. And so it lasts long. So I figure I can eat better quality stuff. So I'm not eating so often. And then I still skip a day a week. Just because, just because I want the autophagy effect, and then because I feel, and I can tell, I just feel like I want that break, and I feel really good the days that I don't eat. And now it's like I weigh myself a lot more often. I weigh myself once a week to make sure I'm on track. And it's fun now because it's kind of push button. It's like, okay, well, I'm getting a little up there. I'll just fast another day and then right back to where I should be. And so I'm really easy to maintain now with just throwing another fast and a day of fasting. And so I'm able to keep it right where I want to be. And it's just so easy now. I mean, it's just no big deal. It's like, okay, well, then I'll just fast tomorrow. No big deal.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. Definitely.
Yeah, and my husband, I'm a lot happier person now overall. More outgoing, and of course, that makes it easier to face all the challenges in life that we have, and stuff like that. So I'm very, very thankful that now I'm like, bring it on, I can handle this now. When as before I thought, I don't think I'm going to live through this. I really don't. So I really thought that, yeah.
It's huge.
Yeah,
How did you responded and reacted to your journey? Like when you first started and definitely now and your community also.
Right. Well, at first I didn't tell anybody about it because, I learned that from yo-yoing all the time. It's just like, well, here's going to try this now. And so I just didn't kind of talk about it very much. And, and then, of course, my husband noticed that I was, losing weight. Are you dieting or something? And I just kind of said, yeah, I'm just kind of trying something new. And so, but then obviously, when I was, obviously losing and stuff and running into the thrift stores all the time, and then I was telling him about, what I was doing and stuff. And, he thinks it's great because he's glad I'm not in as much pain because of course, I was terrible cranky and I was in excruciating pain. And
if you were in that kind of pain,
yeah, it was just always, and I didn't want to move. So I mean, he's happy about that, of course. And but he hasn't, I make as healthy meals as I can for them, and they're not, full board on this, but they eat healthy, but they still eat pretty much standard diet. But I think everyone has to come to their own place and time in their lives when they know that it's a turning point, and the day of reckoning, I guess, comes to us all, one day, and mine was 2 years ago, when I had 2 roads to go, one of just being, pretty much disabled or having a stroke myself, and constant doctor visits and in and out of, this and that, or this, and so that was the moment for me. And thank goodness, I chose this path and it was available right in my hands.
What are some resources that have helped you that, may help some other people learn
Right.
about that?
Well, of course, Dr. Fung's videos and books, the book, The Obesity Code, is just a great explanation. It's an easy read of what goes on in your body and why we become fat. And so I would definitely recommend the Obesity Code. And he also has another excellent book out that I've read called The Cancer Code, which explains, what cancer is. And it's another fascinating book because it kind of ties in to all this. And I watched Dr. Thomas Siegfried, who is from Boston College. He's a cancer guru, and he also talks about intermittent fasting in the prevention of cancer. Even now, all the research going on, and how when you're in autophagy and your glucose and your insulin's low, your body kicks in and gets rid of all the junk cells, which could be the precancer cells. They're using it as a preventative for Alzheimer patients, because when you're in ketosis, it goes in and gets rid of all those sticky proteins that can clog up, it causes Alzheimer's. So there's so many benefits to it. And, it's something that everyone can do. And in fact, Dr. Thomas Siegfried said that he believes that if people would do a 3 to 5 day fast, 3 times a year, our cancer rates would go, we wouldn't be getting all this cancer if we just allowed our body to go in and clean up, which is quite the statement for our health these days, because cancer is just so devastating to so many families and people.
Yeah.
And there's more and more research, and there's just, you could just go down this and just keep reading and learning, and it's fascinating to me now. It's just like I just want to learn more and more and more about it. So
yeah, I understand. I find myself, even after the couple of years I've been doing fasting, I'm still looking at things. It's 2.5 years now.
Is it really? Wow. Good.
Yeah.
Good for you.
Yeah, it's actually pretty exciting.
It's amazing. And I've noticed too, like my skin feels better and it's smoother. There was some, I had some, dark spots here and there. They're like gone. A couple moles and stuff have gone away. It's like, it's just, I don't know. It's just like you're going backwards, in age, all the, whatever. And so it's really kind of, funky. Like I said, it's like all of a sudden, like we know this secret, that's out there, but how do you tell people without them thinking you're crazy or something? But it's all true. It's not something that, it's new.
Yeah, that's right. So what words of inspiration would you give someone who's thinking about getting started with fasting?
Well, if I could do it, anybody could, because, I'm just an average person who just ate, like everyone else does or did, and, if I could do it as much as I dieted and stuff, and and at my age, age, it doesn't matter what age. And I've read online and saw comments from other people who were older than me, a lot older, and had great results too. So, today is the first day of the rest of your life. Words of encouragement that I would tell myself is that tomorrow I'm going to weigh less than today, and I'm going to keep going. Tomorrow I'm going to feel better than I do today, even, and just keep going. And I written down some quotes that I found, in books and stuff. And I look at this page a lot. This is one by Hippocrates, saying to eat when you are sick is to feed your sickness. And this,
Wow.
this Hippocrates did, thousands of years ago. And this is a quote by Mark Twain, who says a little starvation can actually do more for the average sick man than the best medicines and the best doctors. And that was Mark Twain. And then an ancient Indian proverb is a healthy person has 1,000 wishes, but a sick person has only one. And you know how to do that. So I always kind of refer back to these when, through those times when you think, just for reassuring for me, what that it's all good. You're not hurting yourself. You're doing good things for yourself. And there's a lot of doctors out there who agree. And thankfully they're stepping forward and they're brave enough to come out and say these, that you can take control of your own health. Taking that first step and 2 years, it flies fast. I mean, it just, and in fact, I met my goal weight at 1.5 years. So, and during that time, I just, it was just fun. It's just fun and you feel so much better. Don't think, oh my gosh, 2 years. No, it went by like that. And it goes by fast because everything you'll experience is very positive. Very positive.
That is wonderful. But that is definitely it. I want to definitely say thank you very much for being here with me today, sharing your story. I greatly appreciate it. Absolutely.
Yeah. Well, thanks for the invitation, and it's been fun. And we're here to help. So you can, we can do this. We want to help, and that's my mission now. I would love to help others. With some support. So